What is going on, everybody? It is Frank the Tank, and welcome to Friday League Week number 9. And I think I can say that finally things are back to somewhat normal. I say that because of what happened last week. We were bowling on lanes 1 and 2, and as I mentioned, probably, I don't know how many times I mentioned it last week and the week before that, lanes 1 and 2 are a little bit difficult because they dry up a lot quicker than any of the other lanes in the house. And what's crazy about that is, if you didn't see watch that video, I actually left a comment, which is more of like a little fun fact. I left it in the comment section of League Week 8 that lanes 1 and 2 just so happen to be the highest scoring pair in the house. Proof of that would be that from the day they opened the Morgan Hill Bowl, this place where I bowl, from the day they opened their doors all the way up to now, lanes 1 and 2 have the most 300 games. So it's the highest scoring pair in the house. And I used to think that was a bunch of BS, but it kind of makes sense that it is, because if you think about it, what happened, if you guys didn't see that video, I highly recommend you take a look at it. One of the guys on the opposing team, he bowled the front 7, and then I think he left the 7 pin in the next frame, and then that was game 2, and then game 3, I bowled the front 7, and unfortunately, I didn't adjust the right way on the left lane, and then I ended up leaving something I can't remember. But yeah, that kind of shows that. And then, of course, despite the fact that I felt like this pair, lanes 1 and 2, were a challenging pair, I still somehow managed to bowl a 642 series. So that is quite crazy. And yeah, on that night, mentally, and I guess you could say physically, I was not in a good place. I mean, I felt like I was just off. You know, my mental game was not good. My physical game was I was very off balance, messing up on a lot of shots. Wasn't having the right release, but you know, I still somehow managed to make off with the very good, solid 642 series. But here we are now on 15-16, back to normal, as I said, and. Yeah, I guess now that we're a little bit up to date here, this week was a little bit nerve-wracking for me because my mother and my older sister got curious as to what it is I do on these league nights, so they wanted to come and check out the competition. So yeah, they tagged along with me, and I don't know about you guys, but when I have to perform in front of the fam, I get a little nervous because, you know, obviously I feel like when they are watching, I have to put on a good show. But you know, my family, they're like, don't get nervous. It's all right. I mean, it's not like this is like, you know, you don't have to perform good. Don't put that on yourself. Just go out there and have fun. And they're totally right, obviously. But, you know, it's just this thing that I can't get out of my head that I like. If they're here, they need to have a show. So, yeah, that's one thing that was special for this week, is that they decided to come out and watch. And then there's really nothing else to say other than I guess now I can show you what I packed for this league. So I went with the 3 bowling balls plus a spare ball again. I don't know if I did that last week, but I remember that was a little challenge thing that we all started. And yeah, as you can see, here are the 3 bowling balls that have been brought. We started off with the Zero Gravity from bottom, the weakest bowling ball in the bag, and moving up the Omega Crux, and further up is obviously the Dark Code. Obviously, you guys know the good record that I have had with that, so that's really all it is, plain and simple. So I guess now let's get this thing going. Alright, so here we go. On the right lane, using... that is the Omega Crux right there. So, for some odd reason, I didn't even pick up the Omega Crux in the 10 minutes of practice. I picked up the Zero Gravity to try to play some straight angles. And although it was the zero gravity was playing pretty good on the lanes, it was rolling good, nothing was going wrong. I don't know. I just really wanted to pick up the Omega Crux. You know, have any of you ever had that kind of feeling, I guess, or whatever, or that thought? Like, I don't know. I feel like this ball, it's gonna roll good, even though I haven't touched it. I'm gonna pick it up. That's what I was feeling, and you know. Yeah, those were the two things that made me want to pick up the Omega Crux. Number one was, for some reason, I just had this feeling that I should pick up this ball because it's going to roll good. It's going to give me what I need. And number two, I can't lie to you, I haven't touched the Omega Crux since like what, week 1 of League, and here we are, you know, on week 9, and I felt I really just wanted to pick it up. And I don't really know too much about 15 and 16, but after this night, I will tell you that these lanes definitely are a little bit more oily, and you're gonna find out exactly why. All right, second frame, left lane. Let's see how it's gonna play. Right lane was good, so the left lane is okay form, not that great, but it struck a little left of the target, I would say. But you know, ball is very good. House shot, good. We all know that. All right, back on the right lane, working on trying to get 3 in a row. Form was a little bit, could have been better, I would say. Definitely went left the target there. Ball didn't hold like it did on the right lane. But I know that was my fault. That was not even a good shot. I didn't get it exactly on the target like I wanted it. So I did feel a little bit nervous about picking up that 610 because, again, when I have my family coming out to see me, the nerves are a little bit higher than usual. But I will say this, once I threw that first ball and it struck, and then I went to the left and struck, all those nerves were gone. All those feelings that I had, all those thoughts, all the families here, I got to perform good, that was all gone. Everything suddenly went back to the way it usually is when I'm bowling out here. Like this. Fantastic form, great shot, all 10 back. Oh, light hit, but it worked. And you could see my reaction too. I was like, oh, only just. Alright, so here we go on the 6th frame. Strike, strike, 8, spare, strike, strike. Trying to get a triple. Hopped a little on the form there. Left of target. You could clearly see that ball was set up to deflect it when it hit the pocket, and thus the 10 pin, so it kind of makes sense that happened. Unfortunately, Messenger could not get across. Fell just short. Now, my thought here with this 10 pin, even though I felt like I had a rock solid routine to pick up this 10 pin, I still felt kind of like the nervous, unsure feeling because, you know, I don't know, but I wish I could learn to control that, but I just can't. But after that, I was relieved after I had gotten it. And there's the 10 pin again. So, one thing I did not mention, I forgot to mention this, I was standing from the first frame all the way up to this shot right here in the 7th. I was standing on 22 and a half. So after that shot, I realized, okay, 22 and a half, because that's where I stand on, that's where I have stood every time I use the Omega Crux. I've always stood on 22 and a half, and the ball always struck. So here I was thinking, okay, I'm leaving 10 pins. It's time to move to the right. So based on all the times I've left 10 pins in the past, I realize a half board move is not going to work. It needs to be a full board move. So after that, I decided we're going to go from 22 and a half to 20 and a half, I believe is what it was. Okay, quick little correction. I made the move from 22 and a half to 21 and a half. So that's technically, if you think about it, or if you get a picture and look at the boards, you'll see that's actually a full board move. I was using the half boards though. So that made that a full board move, and it worked. So from 22 and a half to 21 and a half, and I suddenly started striking, and I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to have to do on the right lane for sure. All right, so here we go now on the right lane. Again, making that same move that I did on the left here on the right. Unfortunately, my foot buckled. I messed up the shot, set it up to go Brooklyn. Luckily, I got all 10 back. Not proud of it, but got to take them any way you could get them, especially at this point with the score that I had. Sticking with that same game plan from 22.5 to 21.5. Better shot. Bam. Very, very nice. Here we go again. Give me 4 in a row, Chief. That's right. A little left of my previous shot, I believe, but still, it held. Good enough for me. How about another one to close it out? Too much angle into the pocket, and I leave the 9 pin. But it's okay, I'll take it. Fantastic way to start this thing off with a 245. Okay, so after that really, really great start, 245 in game 1, I continued with that same plan. I felt no changes needed to be made despite the fact that that very last shot in the 10th left me a 9 pin. I still continued to go with that same plan. Standing on 21.5. Left of target, went high. I knew it. Luckily, that I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was the 2 or the 4, but something slapped it out of there, and we start off with another strike. All right, so here we go on frame number 2, right lane. This time, I felt like I had the chance to test out that move that I made on the left lane, and it worked. It worked. Form obviously was pretty terrible. Fell off on the shot, but the point was that that move, moving from 22.5 to 21.5, it worked. So now we had our game plan for game 2. So going into this game, I knew for a fact that I was definitely going to have to pay way more attention to the ball reaction because, yeah, you see, for that reason, even though that happened, I still felt like I was very unsure whether I should move or not. But I felt like that shot was a little bit slow, and that's why that happened. But I knew for a fact that for game 2, I was going to stick with that same game plan like in game 1. But that I was definitely going to have to pay some serious attention to that ball reaction because I know for a fact that that line, that look is eventually going to start to go away, and I'm going to have to start making some changes. What kind of changes? I don't know, but that's why you watch your ball, because that's what's when you're going to know whether you need to make a ball change or simply just stick with the same ball, just make some adjustments. All right, after that 9 spare on the left lane, here we are on the right. Form seemed a little funny there, but hey, it struck. Now we got to keep it going. All right, left lane, I'm still standing on the same board. I didn't make any adjustments. I just decided to put a little bit more juice on this one. And I got a light hit, but, you know, I figured, you know what, for this one, that's probably what I'm going to have to do. I can't go any slower because I'm afraid that I'll go too high and leave the 4, or that I will set the ball up to enter the pocket with too much angle and leave me another 9. Okay, so it's becoming evidently clear that the right lane is the good lane for me. Even though I messed up there, it's becoming clear that this is the good lane for me. I don't feel like I have to do anything in particular. I don't have to adjust speed. I don't have to do anything crazy. I just have to do my usual thing, and it strikes. Even though even though you could see that that ball was left of my primary target, it still struck. But it's at this point where you got to ask, like, is going left of target gonna come back and haunt me? I think so. Stay tuned. All right, here we go again. Still continuing with the same plan. That shot's a lot better. Shot deflected into the pocket, but still all 10 fell down. I didn't see any problems with the 4, nothing with the 10, nothing with the 7. It seemed like everything was good, especially no problems with the 9 either, so I'll take it. All right, here we go again. Give me another one. This is the good lane, so it should be easy stuff. And there is your 10 pin. Now, for that shot in particular, I felt like it was good. I mean, I still stood on 21.5, but why that happened, it had me a little bit like, what? Why did that happen, you know? And the only thing I can conclude is that maybe I didn't put enough on it at the release. But nonetheless, we have a 10 pin to deal with. Will I continue to be clean? Yes, indeed. So after a ham bone and a 9 spare, we are now on the 9th frame. And we have not had an open frame at all. Until now, of course. So I gotta say, that's pretty impressive that I managed to go through all of game 1 and almost all of game 2 without an open frame. So unless I can make this, of course. Unfortunately, not today. So the streak of going clean, it ends right here on the 9th frame in the second game. So I still consider that to be pretty impressive. I mean, I shouldn't have thought about that, because I was thinking about that. Like, holy smokes, I still am going clean. I still haven't had an open frame. I was thinking about that. I did bring it up to myself, and it came back to get me with that one. Going into the 10th frame here, I wasn't even like nervous or mad about what happened in the 9th. I was actually more relieved because I had already gotten over 200, and for me, when I get over 200, I'm good. So all I had to do now was just that, put all 10 back, keep the score going higher. Still standing on 21.5 as we speak, and things are still working. So game 3 ended up being something of a disaster, and that was because of something that I did, and you guys are going to see what it is. But before we get to that, let's see what happens with the last shot in the 10th in the second game. And we get a 10 pin. Now, this is a big mistake that I made. Now, seeing that 10 pin led me to thinking, okay, that could be possibly what is going to happen in the third game. I need to make a ball change. That ended up being the worst decision I ever made, and you are going to see right now. Okay, guys, here we are, game 3. I made the decision to go with the dark code. I thought maybe it was time to do that. I threw a bad shot to start off the game. Ended up with the, what is that, the 3, 6, 9, 10. So I wasn't 100% sure. I told myself after that, okay, I made a bad shot. Let's not do that again. And when I return to the right lane, but obviously now we need to test this ball out on the left lane and see what's going to happen. So yeah, I made this attempt at the 3, 6, 9, 10. It was looking good, but then the ball just had too much curve in it. I didn't move to the left enough, I guess, and I only ended up picking up 2. So that's an open frame to start off game 3. Alright, so remember how I said this pair of lanes are a little more oily than anything I've tried because of what I had to do with this Omega Crux, how I usually stand on 22.5. I had to make a full board move to 21.5. Well, I should have taken that into account when I was using this dark code, but I didn't, because look at this. Now, I will say I got the ball a little bit too much to the right, but I knew that I got it down there at the right spot. But notice how the ball didn't really want to come back. I should have taken that into account, but I didn't. And honestly, I don't know what I was thinking. Standing on board 30, because that's usually where I stand with the dark code. And clearly, as you can see, that didn't work. But I continued with that plan, and that is really not a good plan. Actually, what I should have done was not even make a ball change at all. What I should have done was just stuck with the Omega Crux for game 3, because it became clear that, you know, it's not like I would have had to make some seriously huge move. I mean, I still had my look with the Omega Crux. That was such a light hit with that dark code. Did you see that? It was this pair of lanes were very oily. Now after that, I started thinking, okay, maybe I could get through game 3 with this dark code. Big mistake. And here is clear evidence as to why switching to this ball was a big mistake, and standing where I was. Say hello to the 7-10 split. So as a result of this 7-10 split, it basically served as a slap in the face to like wake up. You know, that was my wake up call. At 7-10, I realized, okay, no more of the dark code. I'm going back to the Omega Crux. Yeah, so here we are on the right lane again, making the switch back to the Omega Crux, but it's really a shame that it took me 4 freaking frames, to realize that the dark code just was not the right move. And, I mean, I could have struck with that ball. I could have found something on these lanes, but I didn't. I stood on the wrong board, and honestly, let's just be real here. Switching bowling balls was not the smart move to make. I should have stuck with this Omega Crux. And then the other thing that screwed me up was that I had like lost that routine of mine. And, you know, like that whole staying in that moment, or whatever you want to call it, I had totally lost that, and proof of that was what happened right here with this Omega Crux. Unfortunately, like, I think it got hung up on my middle finger a little bit, and I let go of it the way I did, and, yeah, I had messed with my routine with that Omega Crux, standing where I was, the line where I was, and now basically that shot was me having to reset, having to regain what I just erased, if that makes any sense. Like, I had it all. I had the board, I had the path that I was taking, and I lost it all by making that big move with that dark code, and now I had to, like, gather that information back again. So, unfortunately, that shot on the right lane is proof of it. So hopefully in the left lane, I'm thinking, okay, now that I got that out of the way, I can get back to doing what I was doing in Game 1 and Game 2. So yeah, I hope that makes sense to you guys. I had lost everything that I had, all the information, all my mental approach to this, and by switching to that dark code. It was like basically like, it was like, hold on a second, how do I put this? It's like erasing all the memory to a game that all the stuff that you saved on a game that you were playing. It's like erasing it, and now you have to start all over. That's basically what I was doing. By switching to the dark code, I basically like started up a brand new game. That's basically what I did. So here I am now on the left lane, hoping that I regained that information again, and I did. Or so I thought. And you see that reaction right there, my reaction to that was not necessarily a reaction to me getting that split. That reaction was me realizing that I just blew my chance at trying to get a 700 series. The thing that I have been trying to do all of this entire time, from week 1 all the way up to now. Unfortunately, I couldn't make that split, but it's not like it would have mattered if I even made it, because, again, all right, if my math is correct here, let's see, that was the 7th frame, okay? I would have had to strike out to try to get 226, and that would have been enough, because, again, let's see, with that 245 in the first game and that 233 in the second game, I would have needed 222 to get 700. So if I'd have struck out where I got that split, if I'd have like gotten a strike there and struck all the way through, I would have gotten 226, and that would have been 700. But I blew it. I blew it because I've made a very bad decision to change balls. All right, back on the left lane. And it seemed like the left lane now was becoming my good lane. Yeah, it's obvious what happened there. That was a very bad shot. And yeah, I guess this is going to sound a little strange, but mentally, I was all screwed up on this right lane. Like, I don't know what was wrong with me. I just could not get a good shot on this right lane. Okay, so I don't know if you guys saw that, but like from where I would from my point of view, it looked like that was going to go in the gutter. But you know, I guess from what you guys are seeing, it didn't seem so bad. But trust me, I thought I was going to dump that one. All right, so here we go, closing out the 10th frame of the final game. Unfortunately, this one's a lost cause, but luckily this is on the good lane, at least for this game. So we got that strike. Oh, thank you, sir. May I have another? How about one more? Nope. Hello, 9 pin. What I find funny about this is that if you look at every 10th frame of all these three games, it's strike, strike, 9. Literally, game 1, strike, strike, 9. I left the 10 pin, I think. The second game, strike, strike, 9. I left the 10 pin again. Third game, seemed like it was bound to happen, but strike, strike, 9. I leave the 9 pin. Ain't that something? All right, you guys, with that over with and done, let's now take a look at the league summary before we sign off here. So for game 1, we started off with a really great 245. Game 2, we got a 233, so things were all looking good until I made that stupid decision to switch to the dart code. Messed up my mental game, messed up everything I had, and it came back to get me as all I could get for game 3 was a 171. So, yeah, now let's look at last week's series total was 642. I managed to beat that by a couple pins, but that doesn't make it any better because the series required to raise my average plus 1 was 663, and I did not beat that. So my pin total after week 9 is 5,791 with 27 games played. If we combine that, that gives my average, that keeps my average at 214, just like last week. The only thing that changes is that 0.25 now being 0.48. But that, again, that doesn't make it any better because let's be honest here. Had I stayed with the Omega Crux, this easily could have been probably a 700 series. I would have gotten all three 200 games, and I would have definitely raised that average. But that didn't happen because I blew it. So the only thing that I could say that can come from this is obviously I learned my lesson. If something is working for you and it doesn't look like you're losing your look, if everything is good, if you have a solid game plan, do not change it because things like this will happen. And the second thing that comes from this is we now have gone, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have gone 8 straight weeks with 600 series. So that is honestly a very impressive thing, at least to me, with the exception of obviously week 1 where I think I got a 592 series. But putting that one aside, from week 2 all the way up to now, I've been able to maintain a 600 series, a streak of 600 series. So that's really nice to see. So I just... I hope I never make that kind of mistake again. I learned my lesson after this one. I will say after this that I wasn't thinking that. I didn't know that I had a solid game plan. I thought that maybe in my mind I was thinking that it would be a better choice to go to change balls, change to something much stronger and move left, but that clearly wasn't the right move. So I learned my lesson for that. I know now what to do and what not to do when it comes to that. I know when to do it, so, and when not to do it. So yeah, big lesson learned here, and I hope you guys learned something from this as well. So anyway, that's it for League Week 9. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we now wait till week number 10. I'll see you guys soon.